And now I wake up every day next to a man who used to love me, and I don't know if he even sees me anymore, or just the ghost of what I destroyed. I don't really know how to start this, except to say I am so fucking ashamed of myself that it physically hurts. I destroyed my marriage. I destroyed the person I love most. I had an affair. I know how that sounds because I've read the same stories everyone else has, and I told myself we weren't like that I wasn't like those people. I told myself it was brief, contained, a mistake that I immediately regretted. When D-Day hit, I thought I was ready for honesty at last. I thought I had told him everything. That lie alone, thinking that I was somehow noble because I confessed early, is humiliating now. I trickled truth like I was some scared child, not a grown woman who bled out the truth in a trickle. It wasn't a couple of months, it was almost a year of compartmentalizing, of playing wife and mother at home while living this sick fantasy in my head. A year where milestones that should have been sacred, our 20th year together, the anniversary of meeting, were poisoned because I was somewhere else emotionally and sometimes physically. One of the worst moments, and I can barely type this without feeling nauseous, is that I used a hotel room my husband booked and paid for my birthday to sleep with the other man while husband was at the hospital with his sister who had broken her back. He kept calling and texting because he needed my support in that moment, but I ignored it all. I didn't want to deal with that stuff on my birthday. I remember the excitement I felt then, and I hate that. I let him deal with one of the most vulnerable moments of his life all by himself. I look at my spouse now, and I see the trust in their eyes back then, and it makes me want to crawl out of my skin. Everything unraveled when the other betrayed spouse reached out to my husband. I watched him realize in real time that what they'd been clinging to wasn't real, that the truth they'd been trying to build on was hollow, and I did that to them. I can't soften it or explain it away without wanting to scream at myself to shut up. The other betrayed spouse also disclosed that my AP had an STD, information I was never privy to. I had jeopardized my health and indirectly my husband's too. The instant realization that I was just a confused idiot being manipulated was so overwhelming. The fact that I wrote love letters, actual letters, words about a future, about when we eventually, like I was entitled to imagine a future with someone else while my husband was home with our kids. What an idiot. And now that I'm finally being honest, fully, painfully honest, I keep finding more and more stuff to remind me of what I did. I find notes I forgot about, letters I swore I destroyed, gifts I claimed were returned, socks, fucking socks, little relics of my dishonesty hidden in jacket sleeves and old work bags, and every one of them is a landmine. I know now he'll never stop questioning me, that even if I told him every goddamn detail, the doubt has already nested in his brain and it won't ever sleep. He asked why I kept his letters. I told him the truth because I wanted to reread them one last time. I hate myself for that. I hate myself. Who says that out loud to the man they broke? Who wants to reread a delusion that cost them their family, their soul, their identity? But I did, because it felt safe. It felt like someone loved me without condition, which is so absurd because he didn't even care enough to disclose of his STD. I haven't gotten myself tested, but he could have given it to me by now. Is that love? He says he's afraid I'll take his money and leave. That's why I still don't have access to our finances. 20 years of marriage and I'm on the outside looking in at everything we built together. And I understand. I deserve it. But it doesn't stop the sting. He gets angry when I try to talk about how I feel. I understand that too. Why should he care about my feelings when I discarded his for so long? But sometimes I sit in the kitchen late at night, crying quietly, because all I want is to feel loved again, not tolerated, not managed, not observed like a patient who might relapse. And I am so scared that even if I did everything right for the rest of my life, it would never be enough, because I don't even know what right looks like anymore. Radical transparency, I give it, but he doesn't trust it. Acts of service, I try, but he sees obligation, affection, he flinches, and I spiral. He thinks I'm protecting myself when I shut down, but it's the opposite. I'm trying to not bleed out in front of him. I want him to feel safe. I want him to feel adored. I want him to know that there is no one else, no other thought, no other priority but him. But everything I say sounds fake now for whatever reason. Sometimes we have good days. We put up our Christmas tree last weekend and we laughed. I thought maybe we were starting to build something again. Then I crashed on Tuesday for no reason at all. He said maybe it's my body protecting me from getting too happy. I think it's because I know I don't deserve happy yet. I broke the system and now I live in the glitch. He doesn't yell, but the silence is worse. It's the silence of someone who doesn't owe me anything anymore. Update, I didn't think it could hurt worse than it already did, but it does. He's filed for divorce. It's real now, not just something hanging over us like a threat we pretended not to hear. He's talking to other women. There's a dozen dating apps on his phone I checked. I can see him turning away from me more every day while I'm still here, still doing everything I can to hold him up, to help him get stable, to make sure he lands on his feet. And it hurts so much to be this close to the person I love while they are actively divorcing their feelings for me in real time. This person is the love of my life. I don't say that lightly. The thought of living the rest of my life without him feels unbearable. Like my chest just collapses in on itself when I let the thought finish forming. I know it's selfish to even still want a place in his life. I know I'm not owed anything, but I don't have anywhere else to put these feelings, and they're eating me alive. He's gotten angrier and more paranoid with each passing day. Yesterday we had a bad fight. He confronted me about money in his account that he thought had suddenly disappeared. It hadn't. I no longer have access to his accounts. But he confronted me while I was in the middle of a work meeting, and instead of staying calm, instead of being comforting, I got upset, defensive, sharp. I could feel myself doing it even as it was happening, and I still couldn't stop. I told myself I was allowed to be stressed. I told myself I wasn't lying, and all I did was prove, yet again, that I'm unsafe when it matters most. Now I'm replaying it on a loop. One moment, one reaction, another piece of evidence that he's right not to trust me. He's moving forward without me, and I'm still standing in the wreckage trying to explain why the fire spread the way it did. I don't know how to let go. I don't know how to stay. I just know that being here hurts, and the idea of not being here hurts even more. Comments, I'm so sorry, but I'm going to be honest with you because sugarcoating this won't help. What you're describing is exactly what happens when trust is gone and the betrayed partner has already emotionally exited. The paranoia, the anger, the fixation on money, the dating apps. That's him protecting himself and rebuilding a life that no longer includes you. It doesn't mean your pain isn't real. It just means the relationship is already over, even if you're still physically present. Staying this close while he detaches is only going to re-traumatize you over and over. At some point, helping him get on his feet becomes a way to punish yourself.